back to the conversation shortly. But we want to go back to my colleague Patrick Anumo, who's following up on the IEBC disciplinary committee that is led by Wafula Bukati. It's happening in KICC. Anumo, thank you very much for joining us. So what can you tell us as of now? Who has already gone before the committee, and what are we expecting in regards to the steps? What really is the end game of this?
Thank you, Betty. It is at the KICC where the IEBC's Electoral Code of Conduct Enforcement Committee is listening to 18 cases that are affecting various members, starting from the MCAs through members of parliament and the governor position. We've had the governor for Vihiga, Moses Akaranga, with a petitioner who is a gubernatorial candidate for on ANC ticket, one Ibrahim member, complaining that Akaranga has been using NASA symbols, but now he claims that Akaranga's affiliate party of NASA. So Akaranga, in his defense, says that Akaranga's party is not fielding any presidential candidate. That is, the Progressive Party of Kenya is not fielding a presidential aspirant, and that's why they are supporting NASA flag bearer Raila Amolo Odinga. And Akaranga said that he was in Nairobi during the launch of NASA manifesto, and he was recognized by the principals. And in fact, when NASA held their first public campaign rally in Vihiga constituency, he was like their appointment in Vihiga. So he says he has the blessings from the NASA core principals to carry out the campaigns on behalf of NASA, and he feels that he is not in breach of electoral code of law of conduct, because in Akaranga's argument, he says NASA is not a political party, and neither has his members used that party symbols belonging to those affiliate parties of NASA, say ANC, Ford Kenya, ODM, or Wiper Democratic Movement. The other candidate we are waiting here is, the other person who's appeared before this committee is the MP for Kiambaa, Paul Kihara, and is being accused by his opponent, the Jubilee aspirant, that is a Mr. Kariri Njama, is accusing Paul Koinange of using Jubilee colors. Remember, the current MP, who is Paul Koinange, is an independent. After the Jubilee Party primaries, he could not make it, so he is contesting as an independent. But he says that the colors he uses are for his symbol, which is grey, red, and some yellow. So he says that that party, the party colors, what is done is that what is going to is to remove the posters that are bearing President Uhuru and William Ruto's images, but the other aspects will remain. And he's promised that he'll remove these things within the next 24 hours after it was brought to his attention. We are also expecting former MP Peter Maore in Nyanza. We also have the MP for Waraka, who was a Kasarani constituency. Mr. John Joroge has a case here. We'll also be expecting Kasarani constituency, where we have TJ Kajwang and Elizabeth Ongoro. So they also are part of the hearing. We'll be listening here, and this matter will come in the afternoon. So it is something that we expect anytime this particular committee to continue with its deliberations. As it were, we also in Laikipia is some interesting matter, because the current governor for Laikipia, Mr. Joshua Irungu, will be appearing before this particular committee to share some light on what went during the party primaries in Jubilee Party primaries in Laikipia. Remember, we have there are two cases from Laikipia, one involving Peter Ngugi versus Nderitu Mureithi. Nderitu Mureithi also contested on Jubilee Party ticket, but was not successful, and he's also now running as an independent. He has a case to face. At least he'll be appearing before the committee to explain why he's using Jubilee colors in his gubernatorial race for Laikipia. For Laikipia County. We have the current governor Joshua Irungu, who has been with J.M. Madenge, who is also trying to argue a case out with the current governor with regard to the party primaries there. Remember, the Political Parties Dispute Tribunal Committee had said that Irungu should be given the Jubilee Party ticket. It was a matter that ended up in the High Court, and the High Court upheld the decision that Irungu should be the Jubilee flag bearer in Laikipia County. So Laikipia County is also promising a very, it appears that the political differences in that county with regard to the gubernatorial race have not been adequately settled to the satisfaction of various candidates. So that's why we have the IEBC Enforcement Committee trying to look into this particular matter. There are 18 cases, as I said, 6 involving members of parliament, 3 involving governors, and 9 involving members of the county assembly. Betty? The Enforcement Committee trying to look into this particular matter. There are 18 cases, as I said, and 18 cases, as I said.
All right, Amimo, thank you for that. But even as we look forward, so in case some of these leaders have found that they erred in one way or another or went against the code of conduct, then what is going to happen to them?
This particular matter, the committee is trying to go through the matters, and they will be making their judgment on the 20th. That is Thursday this week. That's when the chairperson, Wafula Chebukati, will be making a ruling on these particular cases that they have listened to. Remember, there are 18 cases, and each party, both the petitioner and the complainant and respondent, have been given at least to argue their cases within a maximum period, maximum timeline of 10 minutes each. So the commission is also very eager to dispose of these matters very, very fast. And what is appearing so far, the complaint is that especially those candidates, in the independent candidates, if they were from the Jubilee party, their opponents in Jubilee are complaining that they are using Jubilee colors. But then we've seen some of their lawyers argue, those who are representing independent candidates argue that colors is not a monopoly of any particular party. So as long as these particular the colors can be used by any individual, and also some are also presenting any letters. They are also asking if there are any letters authorizing these particular various candidates to use either the posters of different presidential candidates, like we've had a case from Tuwani Ward in Trans Nzoia, where a federal party candidate, an MCA candidate, is using ODM colors, and these, according to the ODM candidate in Tuwani, feels that this particular aspect will act is against it, because some members will feel that this federal party is a member of NASA or ODM to some extension, yet that's not the correct position. So they are arguing, and each particular individual is trying to defend their turf and ensure that their party members are not swayed by the different affiliates that different candidates are trying to push. Because remember, even in the Jubilee coalition, we remember after the party primaries, those who decided to stand as independents decided to put their weight behind President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy William Ruto, depending on the areas that are perceived to be their strongholds. And in the NASA coalition areas, we saw those who lost in the party primaries also coming out to support the election of the NASA flag bearer Raila Odinga or the running mate Kalonzo Musyoka on Wiper. And in those particular areas, these candidates are trying to put their faces to those posters in a way to win at least mileage, and also convince voters that they are part of a team. So it's something that the commission will look into and give a fair judgment. Betty?
All right, so we will be taking a short break. We're coming back in a few minutes.